Well, welcome to our live stream.
Hey, everybody. We are so glad for those of you who were able to join us. We know that it was really short notice, but we'd love to hear who you are. And if you can tell us where you are joining from, that would be great. And also, if that's, whoops. Hey, everybody. And if that's, if you're home or if you're on the road, we'd love to know that as well. And sorry about that. A little bit of a technical difficulty there.
So we're in Auckland, New Zealand, and it's been really nice weather here. So, excuse me, that better not go on. So it's been really nice weather here. We have to have the blind shut, but if you could look outside, you'd see we're right on the waterfront. We're in a harbor. Really a beautiful atmosphere to have for someplace that, we don't like cold weather. So this having nice weather and a place we can sit out has been really wonderful. It's a great bonus for this as part of our travel. So it makes our holiday season even better.
The one downside has been that there are big cruise ships, and they have been quite loud. And one of them is a Disney cruise, and they're doing a lot of entertaining. So we are really hoping that they aren't going to be using their megaphones and their microphones to just kind of get people up and active, which is great for the people on the cruise, not so great for those of us who are trying to do a live stream.
They're parked right next door. It's a massive ship. And before they do the announcements, they have the little Walt Disney tune kind of play the first few notes, so you know it's coming. So if you hear Walt Disney tunes, it's not us.
Yeah.
We don't have a Disney theme going on here.
So we've got a lot of great people already on the call. We've got Mike Nelson from... well, he's not from Mexico City, but he's in Mexico City. Lisa Kinnear from Mexico. We've got Robert in New York City. Beth Martin in Chattanooga. Oh, man, that's awesome. And Lola from Orlando, San Diego. Kathy Walker. Jose from Portugal. We're so delighted to have you here. Let me give you just a brief backstory. And first of all, I just want to say that we have had so much going on. And I know that holiday time is usually a time when people are really busy. And we have been going hard enough. We've been working on a special project that we really only talked about with our gelato members. So we're excited to be talking to you about that later. But that's kind of why some of our videos have been running late and why this week we don't have a video at all. However, one of our favorite things to do is to connect with you in our comments and just to be putting out videos, letting you know that we're thinking of you and sharing our experiences. And we just kind of thought, well, what is it like for people over the holidays in general? Part of the reason that it's busy is because you're meeting up with friends and family. You're going to holiday parties and you're going to traveling to see family. And we can't necessarily do those kinds of things, but we just kind of thought that we would welcome you into our Airbnb and you could welcome us into your home. And sometimes with your closest friends, you can just show up with just a little bit of notice and still have a great time. So that's what we're here to do today.
Surprise. I hope you brought the wine. I don't have it here.
I have water with a tiny bit of apple juice that I'll be drinking throughout. So, but you can do whatever you want because it's 9:00 here on Monday. But for most of you, it is still just Sunday night. Yeah. Yes. And that is one of the challenges we have with live streams in general. We know that especially for the people in Southeast Asia this time, it's really pretty late and hard for them to join. We will be doing our best to do another live stream, certainly from another location that will hopefully be a better alignment to the people who couldn't make it today. And if you have to drop off early, you can certainly catch us by just using this link and watching us again. And we'd also love you to share it with friends and family who you might want to introduce to us, or if we've answered a question that's helpful, that they can see it too. So that is also a reminder to leave any questions that you have for us. That's the primary thing that we want to do in this time together, but we also want to give you a little chat and share what's going on with us.
And we got some people from London and Canada chiming in, which is hello. Good to see you. Yeah, this is, it's hard with time zones for us. A lot of times we're trying to connect with family and get those phone calls in and do that kind of thing. And we have to be really respectful of what time we're hitting them. And so doing a live stream is even tougher because we're not just hitting the US, we're hitting the whole world. So it gets very complicated.
Right. In fact, one question that I'm going to pose to you all, we did a live stream with our Gelato members yesterday, and we do one every 4 weeks on Saturdays typically. And one question that came up that we really didn't have an answer to, but we know many of you travel on a regular basis and may have an answer for them. They had asked that if you've been traveling over the holidays and you've had to ship things overseas, probably to the US or wherever it might be, have you had difficulties? What do you do? Because you want to send gifts to your loved ones, but you're traveling. We would love to hear if you have suggestions or tips that might be useful that we can share with that particular viewer of ours. But for us, I'll just kind of say we don't typically send gifts when we are overseas. Well, we normally will send money or flowers to family members because we know that they enjoy them, or a holiday wreath, something like that.
Something that can be delivered locally as opposed to having to go through customs or anything else.
Oh, interesting. I did not realize that you can't leave comments on the TV app.
It's limited because there's no keyboard attached. They don't expect you to actually talk to people.
Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah. But okay, good to know. And I guess that's a reminder. So you could dial in on your phone if you want to leave a question for us that way also. Just, you probably need to turn off the volume on one or the other so you don't get an echo. I think that's how it works. Maybe they won't get an echo on their side.
We get the echo when you leave your volume on. That's how the echo happens.
Oh, man. Oh, they can't even see the streaming comments.
No.
I had no idea.
No, because comments aren't useful on TV because no keyboard attached, like I said.
Well, I thought maybe you could at least see them. Well, if you want to look at this live stream afterwards, you will be able to see the comments, I guess, so long as you're not on because I can see it on my laptop. Yeah. So that helps. Great. Oh, it's so great to see everybody. I don't even know how to Snohomish, Washington. John D., it's great to have you here. And Snap Crackle Retirement, I love getting your comments. Hello from Ottawa. And Milwaukee, we actually have a lot of viewers from Milwaukee, so we're glad to have you here. Oh, and we've got James and maybe Fatima. Great to have you. I know you've been under the weather, so we're glad that you could join in. We do want you to know that your comments to us on our videos are truly a way to connect. And some people have said, well, I don't think you know me from, I don't know you, but I feel like I do. In the same way that you might see us on the street and feel like you know us from watching us. Your comments, they mean the world to us. So thank you for all of those and for tuning in and supporting us. I guess let's dive into what's been on our minds lately. Did you want to talk about that a little briefly?
I've got several friends in Australia and in New Zealand, and one of them was talking yesterday about how strong the Asian culture is here in this area of the world, and they have wonderful Asian cuisine. He was asking if I was eating what I was eating here in New Zealand, and we're in Auckland, and we were in Hobart recently in Tasmania, and we had a lot of great Asian food there too. So we were out the other day, yesterday probably, or the day before, and I had I wanted udon noodles, So we're looking around and there's just some great shops around here. We went to an udon restaurant, a Japanese restaurant, had some delicious food. In fact, it was so good. I said, boy, I miss Japan. It's been a long time since you've been there. And what does this person do? She starts getting on her phone going, well, I wonder where we can fit Japan into our busy schedule that I got planned out for the
Not
next
in
2 years.
2026, but I did fit it into 2027, so I'm really excited about that.
But this is the stuff we do. As we're enjoying a wonderful meal, reminiscing about places we've been, sometimes that sparks a change in schedule or an idea or a memory of something. It's like, wow, yeah, we really did love that place, or really did have a great experience here. And the fact that we've been doing this for over 3 years, we have a lot of wonderful experiences, and we feel like there's just never enough time to share them all. If you have experiences that you've had traveling, let us know about these things, because it may help us to tell you more about what we're doing, because there's so many things that happen in just one place. We don't actually get to record it all.
Right. That's true. And we also are in a situation where, because we don't spend a lot of time in a country each time we visit, we have a reason to go back and see something new in that part of the world. And that's really enjoyable for us. If you haven't already guessed, one of our philosophies is that we don't know when we're going to have to stop traveling for any reason. And so we want to see as much diversity in the world as we can. So that means not necessarily deep diving into one country, but to be seeing as wide of a view of every place. And then we will go back to places and narrow in a bit more. We do have some questions, so I want to address them. Are we planning a March visit to San Francisco again? Yes, we are. We have a goal to go back to the US once a year, and we are going to be sharing our 2026 plans in a full video. So, but happy to at least let you know we are coming back to the U.S. in March.
Yeah, we try to do once a year. My sister's been struggling with cancer, and so we had an extra trip the end of last year, and we may fit in other trips because when family health problems are happening or family emergencies are happening, we make time, no matter where we are, excuse me, to divert. The idea of our schedule is fluid. We've got a lot of things planned, but family is more important. And even meetups, when we have people that are around the world and say, we're going to be in the area, we do try to shift things a little bit if we can, because really connecting with people is such a main reason for what we're doing. This is important. So, and family in the U.S. obviously very important.
Yeah, for sure. We've been trying to not overschedule our flights or not schedule them too far in advance, because that's the easiest thing to change. And for the most part, our accommodations are non-refundable so that we can pivot if we need to. We don't always travel that way, but in this season when we know that there are health issues at home, we've kind of been keeping our schedule a little more loose.
And the U.S. is usually one of those big rock places where we put it down first, because you might have to lock in those kind of dates.
Yeah. Lola Stacy is saying, I type on my phone, but the comments don't show up on the TV. I've been able to before on the TV, so we'll see what that issue is.
Yeah,
let you figure that out. And yeah, okay, John and Wendy, thanks for the correction on that. Leave it to me to mention a name that wasn't that would be a combination name. Let's see. How long have you been in New Zealand, and does it really feel expensive here? First of all, we're only going to be here, I think, 9 days. And it is expensive, but I feel like it's cheaper than what Australia was.
Well, I mean, the New Zealand dollar goes further, right?
Yeah.
So that makes it, you look at the price and you go, whoa, wait a minute, let me convert it to you. Okay, it's okay.
Yeah. So accommodations were expensive and food is expensive. And I think if we would have been coming from a more affordable destination, we probably would have more sticker shock than we do coming from Australia when our eyes were watering. We were buying hamburgers that were 28 Australian dollars, which, what did we say was still, I mean, maybe that was only 15.
Yeah, it was only 15.
I don't know. It felt Australia felt very expensive. And like I said, this doesn't seem cheap. And especially we are going to multiple destinations. We are here, and then we're going to Rotorua, and then we're spending Christmas in Nelson, and then we are going to Queenstown last. And that's going to kind of round out our New Zealand travel, at least for this year. We definitely will barely have scratched the surface, but this is at least what made sense for us.
Yeah,
36 days here.
Yeah, part of the problem too is traveling between destinations in New Zealand and between Australia, Tasmania, and New Zealand. All those flights are more expensive than we expected. I mean, we did our research early on, but then said, well, maybe we're just hitting the bad time. No, they're just more expensive. And because the maps are all skewed and everything looks smaller down here on the European, US-centric maps, you get down here, it's like everything is so massive. It's a big distance from place to place, and you spend more hours than you think you're going to. It's like, well, it's just right there on the map. It's like, no, it's costing a lot to get from point to point down here. We love it, but it's still a hard area to get around.
I don't know if you can check, but we flew from Hobart, Tasmania to Auckland, and it was a more expensive flight than I think we expected it to be. $618 for a part of the world that I thought would be a little bit closer destination wise, but that's for both of us, so it's not unreasonable. But
it was more than we expected, and that kind of shocked us too. So this area of the world definitely is a plan ahead type location, and we're heading to Southeast Asia after this, and hopefully we'll spend a little less money in that region of the world, because we did save some last time. It's really easy to spend a lot of money no matter where you are, depending on where you're getting your food, but we've learned a little bit about that, and we've been shopping here too, as we try to do in many places. If we can go pick up something in a supermarket, saves a little bit of cash.
Yeah. I do want to read, Carol had said it's great to feel inspiration, and I think that was in response to your comment about Japan. Mm-hmm. We get so much information or inspiration from our viewers. Pretty much last year we put out a video, and the 5 places that changed us. Right. And we asked you all to share what places changed you. And we worked really hard to incorporate as many of those into our future planning as we possibly could. And so we feel like our job is a lot easier to travel plan. Don't get me wrong, it is still a lot of work, but when we get your recommendations, it makes things a lot easier.
It's a lot harder when you keep changing the plans. And every time someone makes a suggestion, it's like, well, that's a really good idea. So now you try to reschedule things and make sure you're in that region at some point.
Yeah, and Edith is talking about that she stayed at Prince's Wharf Apartments. That's where we are. Yep. So it's been great. In fact, I can't remember if you actually said it, but one of the things that we did is we knew that the short amount of time we were going to have, we weren't going to see everything that we wanted to see. But the fact that we have this balcony is a rare treat when the weather is good. And so Kevin's like, let's just sit out there. And there's a chaise lounge, and there's also a way to sit down and have coffee and stuff. Yeah. So we've been enjoying as much time out there while the weather is good. And that's not really something we've been able to do. So it may mean that we are slowing down and being present to the experience that we're having instead of feeling like we have to do a ton of sightseeing.
Yeah, and that having this time when we have a place to sit and relax, like we did in Calgary, and when we did out here, we have a balcony we can actually sit on, enjoy the weather. It kind of makes us reflect on the whole process of travel. Why are we doing this? We're not doing this to hit numbers or hit as many places. I mean, it's fun to hit a new country, but the idea is we're trying to enjoy our retirement. We're trying to meet up with people. We're trying to make connections. And when we have these moments where we get to sit and just relax and slow down, it kind of hits home. It's like, wow, we should be doing this more. This is really part of the process. We get so busy building what we're building, the project we'll talk about, and our channel and everything else that we love doing. but it also means you could fill every moment of your day when taking time to sit back, relax, take a breath in a location, and just drink it in. You know, how often do we get to sit by a harbor and hear Disney tunes? But, you know, outside of that, it really is wonderful to, I mean, I love water features. So does Judy, you know, so it's a river, it's an ocean, it's a lake, something by us that we can relax by and just enjoy nature. And, you know, Australia and New Zealand are fantastic for that, for getting out and seeing more of nature and the wildlife. And so this has been an opportunity to slow down, breathe, and really reevaluate how we're traveling.
Yeah, we thought we could scramble and just get out a video this week, but we just decided, you know what, we do want to take a breath and just appreciate what is going on. And I think that was a good choice for us.
Yeah, we get to relax with you.
Yes.
Enjoy conversations here.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And we've got Corey on the call. Corey is one of our dear, dear friends from San Francisco. And he said, pencil me in for a coffee when we're in town. And we absolutely will. Thank you so much for joining. I know that you are en route to San Francisco. So it's exciting that you could still join us.
Also a busy
today.
traveler.
and thank you for the well wishes for Kevin's sister. Lola Stacy's asking, have you ever thought of RVing around Europe? That's a hard no. I'll say first of all, I don't like being driven around. We used to drive a lot when our kids were young and we couldn't afford to fly to places with a family of 5. But
so get out the minivan.
Yeah. And I guess I was always worried about falling asleep while you're driving or getting in a wreck with everybody. And to us, it's not relaxing or enjoyable.
We lived in Houston for 29 years, and commuting to work there can take hours. We would be in the car an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours a day, getting to work and then getting home again. And it kind of burned me out on driving. I just don't love it as much. And so the idea that we could get somewhere, like especially in New Zealand, like, oh, if you hire a car, you can get anywhere. It's like, yeah, but then we spend our time having to worry about the rental car, if there's breakdowns.
Driving on the wrong side of the
road. All these things. It's not as much fun for us. I know some people love driving. Our daughter loves driving. My one sister loves driving all her life. She just, instead of taking a flight somewhere, she'd drive across the U.S.
No, we love, if it's something that you enjoy, we want you to travel and see the world in the best way for you. So don't get us wrong. We're not opposed to it. It's just, you know, especially even, I was a nervous wreck when we were moving from Houston. Moving from Houston to San Francisco, and I had just a U-Haul behind me, and I was just taking stuff to a storage unit. And
I left her alone in Houston. I was in San Francisco, so she had to do all the work.
Yeah, and so the idea of being in an RV and something happening to Kevin and me needing to maybe navigate out of a parking spot or like all of it just sounds way more stressful than enjoyable. Hello from Florida. My friends and I are embarking on a trip to Morocco, all based on your recommendations. Darlene, we are delighted to hear that. And please let us know how it went for you. We would love to hear. We have heard like some mixed experiences about the tour company we used, and we had an excellent tour with them. But we hope you are just doing your own due diligence. I think that they will be fine for you, but I just want to make sure you're satisfied that you've communicated as well as you possibly can. We didn't earn any money. We don't earn money when we recommended them. We just thought that it was somebody that we used that gave us a good experience, and we hope if you're using them that they are doing the same for you as well. Do we do the hop on, hop off buses when we're in a town? Terry Dad. We did that for Auckland, and it gave us a real nice overview. You know, thanks for that. We don't typically. We did do it when we were in Gozo in Malta, and it was really good because it was so spread out, and it was the only way we could really feel like we could even get around. Because
it was a cheap way to get from the ferry into the central city.
Yeah, because taxis taxis kind of were a little scammy there, and they overcharged, and so that worked out really well for us. But we don't as a rule, because sometimes we can't hear very well, and we would prefer to maybe take a bike tour or a walking tour. But Auckland is pretty large, and somebody made a recommendation the other day about someplace in the Parnell district, and it's a 38-minute walk. And we could do that. I just don't know if we will, on top of the other places that we already know we want to see. Yeah. So that might be a way to get an overview. So thanks for the recommendation.
Auckland's unique. It's one of those places where we didn't expect this. Sometimes we go to a place, we find a coffee shop. Sometimes it's really nearby, like it was in Berlin, like right outside our door. But other places, we have a little bit of a walk, and we go to the same place a lot. Auckland, we've been going to many places and getting around the CBD and just outside of it a little bit, because there's just so many options here. And it really has a lot to offer just in the city without even getting outside it. So this is probably one of those places where we've explored more on our mornings than we ever usually do. We haven't gotten into that same old routine, which is unique for this place.
Yeah, it's been nice. In fact, sometimes I do like seeing some new places. In fact, even in Melbourne, which is the coffee capital, I think, of the world, practically, in terms of its really good coffee
passionate about it, yes.
Cafes. But we saw some, we explored some, but still not as much as I would have liked to.
Yeah.
So the Woodtang Life says, do you recommend doing the expensive trips first or later in retirement and do the cheaper locations at the start? This decision could affect your 401k or retirement accounts. That's an interesting question. That's not necessarily how we've chosen to travel. We've chosen to say, if we needed to stop traveling tomorrow, what would we have regrets about not seeing? Right. So just because someplace is expensive doesn't mean it's a higher priority place to visit. And I think that has actually worked pretty well for us. Would you agree?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, getting to Japan early on in our travels was expensive, but we wanted to get it in because it was such a big place for us.
Bucket list
place. Yeah. And Judy started us off with Greece early on and Egypt early on, which are not necessarily the most expensive places, especially Egypt, but we still want to get those in because they were on the list of, wow, if we don't see this, we'll be really sad. So yeah, as travel goes on, we start to fit in some places that aren't as high on the list, but we really want to see them still. And it's not about money at all. I mean, it's about money. We can't afford to go every place we want to go, but it's not about, we want to get to that high-end place because we won't have money later. Hopefully, we're being smart with our money, and we have a lot of reasons why, that's important for us, because we don't want to stop travel anytime soon.
Especially because we've run out of money because we weren't smart about it.
Right.
But I guess I'll also say Greece can be really expensive. So we went during the off season where it was much more affordable. Mm-hmm. And so I also think that your expensive places that you want to visit, maybe you can visit more cheaply by using the shoulder season instead of peak season.
And also the places that may be harder on mobility. When you're more active, more mobile, go to those places that are maybe more of a strain getting around. Get those in first because, as you get older, your mobility gets less and less, and those could be not as much fun later on. We've watched people walk up to a place and look like it's someplace they would really love to enjoy, but the hill or the stairs stops them. And suddenly they look at it going, well, we can't get Dad up the stairs, so I don't know how we're going to do this. And the tour guides are trying to make accommodations, but, hit the places that are going to be challenging, maybe mobility-wise.
Yeah, it's not something that we really thought about until one of our viewers actually said that they prioritize places that require more mobility. Mm-hmm. And I think that actually is also good advice. I think you have to, and some people have talked about having really elaborate systems about, maybe giving mobility a point and giving price a point and whatever, how high on your bucket list it is. And then adding up all of those points, and using those as a guide to what you're going to see first. We, in a lot of ways, we have criteria, but our hearts want what they want.
Yeah.
And
we make a lot of gut decisions.
Yes.
We've changed our minds on things just because, it just would be really nice to be in that area of the world. And hey, look, we've got like 5 people we can meet. Like, we didn't expect to go to Montenegro and have all the meetups that we had. But it turns out, that made the whole trip special. So sometimes we have an idea from a person that's going to be there, and turns out they can facilitate even more meetups and more connections. And that really makes the trip special. So we go with our gut and say, this is really a good opportunity to maybe catch up with some people, and we're going to change our plans to do that. So it may not be a high ticket place or a bucket list place, but it becomes a really important thing in our travel history.
Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, let's see. Do you have an end game for when you ever decide to stop traveling, or is that still up in the air? We actually have a video on that, and I'll see if I can link it for you, because we have talked about that.
The short answer is no, we don't. We don't want to end travel anytime soon is the point. It's not like we're looking to settle down in a place or buy a house or anything like that anytime soon. The idea is, even if Judy's Italian citizenship comes through, which she's been working on for years now, over 3 years, and if that comes through tomorrow, what that does for us is it gives us more time in Schengen. Instead of being limited to 90 days, now we get 90 days in a country in Europe, and that would be really wonderful, because then we can slow down our travel, maybe experience more cities in a country, maybe spend more time in one place and really drink it in. But it's not so that we can suddenly buy a house. We're not going for the €1 place and we're going to refurbish it. It's not happening.
No, definitely not interested in owning property again or renovating a home.
Yeah.
We
loved our homes. We loved where we lived all our lives. We had some really wonderful experiences. We're just in a different phase.
Eduardo, 18 months away from retirement. Oh, that is so exciting. I'm not sure if you've seen our video on health versus wealth. I'm going to link that below as well. I guess, if there's a chance that you can retire early, I think that that's something that you should at least think about. Maybe it's not in the cards for you, but I think that if we had it to do over again, I feel like our timing was perfect timing for us. But man, do I wish that we would have embraced this lifestyle sooner.
Yeah.
And I'd been okay by slowing down and seeing less, going on less excursions, if I could have more time exploring the places that we've been. And it hit us like a gut punch when we realized that we could potentially be working until we were finally ready to retire, and it would be too late and something happened to one or the other of us, and all of our dreams would have gone down the tubes. Which is not to say that you lose a spouse and you no longer have the ability to travel. Right. No, I don't mean that at all. But the experiences that you would have together as a couple would definitely change. Mm-hmm. And also just putting off something that will really bring you joy, even if it's trying to take a little bit more time to travel.
I think when we, when we first started talking about it, the idea was, okay, here's how much it costs us to live in San Francisco. Here's what our lifestyle's like. What if we trimmed down our lifestyle? What if we had less? And what if we could live cheaper? Well, what if we live cheaper on the road or someplace else in the world? And we started looking at those numbers going, well, we didn't do the perfect plan of saving up all this money and having millions of dollars in the bank. That didn't happen. But we said, if we're smart about this, if we do a little stuff on the side and make a little bit of income and have our savings, keep our retirement money earning interest and all the rest, if we do that smart, we can travel now. We don't have to wait till the next set of money comes in. The looking at that is what a lot of people that we've talked to a struggle with. I just don't know if I'll run out of money. And that's a real concern. But it's also one of those, maybe you're just not looking at it right. Maybe there's a way to travel cheaper. If we didn't have a YouTube channel, we could certainly travel even cheaper than we do, because you can stay in a place for a long time and some cheap places in the world and really drink in this different lifestyle without spending a ton of money. You don't have to go to every tourist place. You don't have to spend money eating out all the time. You don't have to do all the things you do on vacation. And getting your mind to shift out of vacation mode really makes a difference in how you could think about, maybe we could travel. And you don't have to travel full time. Maybe we could travel 3 months out of the year. Maybe we travel 6 months out of the year. Whatever your plan is, maybe it can happen sooner. And that's what we've been kind of advocating, because we know how much we've appreciated this lifestyle.
Right. We had somebody that I think Matt and Tasia who spent time in Croatia, but not Dubrovnik, or maybe they did, but there are a lot cheaper places in Croatia than Dubrovnik. And we've had plenty of viewers to that video about it, talking about, well, you should have gone out into the countryside a little bit more. And things are so much cheaper than they were in Old Town for us.
Yeah.
So even by seeing some of the periphery of the main attractions, you are having deep experiences, sometimes deeper because they're more local and less tourist driven. You just have to really be thinking outside the box.
Yeah, and the Packers talked about managing health on the road. And we do get physical exams. We do plan our schedule around where could we be to get physicals, where could we be to get dental appointments and glasses and whatever else we need, because there's a lot of great healthcare around the world, and that is part of the process. And we've talked about our insurance plan before, and we'll link that. But the idea is that we do have a global health insurance that covers the major incidents when we're traveling. And we there's a rider in there for the U.S. for a short period of time, and we've talked about that in other videos. But healthcare is an important topic, and it's something that we do think about. We do think about exercising and being in shape and being flexible.
Think about it. We're not necessarily doing it as much as we wish we were, and I think that's actually, I hate when people say it's on my list and you never get to it. And so we know that we need to be working on our mobility, and like some of the foods that we're choosing to eat, and maybe cooking a little bit more than we've been doing. And it has been hard, but you do need to prioritize it. We got our healthcare checkups when we were in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And Southeast Asia is a great place for a lot of that. There are many places in the world where people go to Mexico for dental work. And I think Turkey is popular for a lot of medical tourism. If there's a place that you want, type it in to your browser, and there are lots of places throughout the world to get things significantly cheaper than in the U.S.
And with great experiences. The hospitals that we've gone to around the world, we've actually had someone taking us step by step through whatever process we have, whether it's a surgery that I had or whether our health exams. They don't just throw you into the mix and say, find it. There's someone says, okay, your next appointment is this, and we'll have this person take you there. And
even in foreign countries, there's a English-speaking liaison that will assist you.
So it's a lot easier than you might think, and certainly very professional.
Yeah. I want to go back to the point that JP had mentioned about, you were just there and you used our recommendation. I don't think you used our recommendation in Morocco, which was specifically for a Sahara Desert experience, which I think is the Morocco guide, maybe, that our commenter was mentioning. So if you had issues in Egypt, we should probably talk about it offline, because I know that you used our guide there. And Rebecca Shelton, my husband decided to retire early, and it was the best decision we've made. His job stress was robbing our lives of joy. Yes. And I feel like that's kind of where we both were when we kind of just decided, screw it all, let's just go and do this, because our jobs were robbing us of joy.
Yeah, and the focus. Sometimes if you work so hard that you're thinking, I'm just exhausted at the end of the day, and what do I do? Well, I worked extra hours on my job, especially when it was during the pandemic and we were stuck in the apartment. It's like, okay, they're getting more hours out of us because we're working outside of the normal boundaries. And we got to really think about this. This is what we're going to do for the next X number of years. We're going to work harder and work more because the corporation will let you. They don't mind it at all.
Yeah.
And we just had to look at that and say, well, this is not where we want to spend our active years. We are still in our active years, and we do have to be careful about health and everything else because I think we've gotten into fast travel a little bit and spend less time exercising than we should be doing. So.
Yeah, I think that is one of the risks is that if you move too fast, you don't give yourselves enough, or we are not giving ourselves enough time to make appointments and do follow up. And if you only give yourself X amount of time to sightsee, it also, like if you are somebody who signs up at a gym when you move into a city for a month or so, you want to make sure that you're at least there long enough that you can do all the things that you want. And if you're okay, and we are sometimes okay to say, okay, we're not going to do this because we're going to prioritize that. That's great. But when people say, well, I'm only going to spend 4 days somewhere, and you are, especially if you're traveling full time, well, are you accounting for when you need a dentist appointment? If you are going to go to the gym 2 of those 4 days, are you still going to have time to sightsee the sites you want to see? Mm-hmm. Are you going to be able to linger and just take in some of the experiences that only show up when you aren't rushing from place to place?
Right.
So I think it's a challenge. And for us, for sure, in 2026, we came out and we shared with our Gelato members like our really ambitious 2026 plans. And we knew that they were ambitious. And everybody was like, man, I was getting tired just reading it. and we knew that. And we kind of stepped back. We cut a few destinations.
Right.
We decided to stay longer in some places, still not maybe as long as we have in the past. And we're kind of treating 2026 as an experimental year. So we're excited to see how it unfolds, and we are going to be listening to how we feel about our pace and make adjustments for sure if we need to.
Yeah, early on in our travels, we had like a routine. We get up in the morning when we were in Scotland and Broughty Ferry, when we were in south of France, and when we were in Cyprus. We were doing these morning walks because we had water edges that we could walk past and walk around, and it felt like that was a really good routine, and we somehow have lost that, mainly because getting up in the morning, I think my main focus is not a walk, but maybe coffee.
I mean, sometimes it is a walk, and sometimes we'll walk at night. And it also kind of depends on where we are, how walkable it is, and how safe it is. Especially sometimes I will take walks alone at night, and you're focusing on working. So, I do want to shout out to Steve Gray, who's retiring on New Year's Eve. That is awesome. We are so excited for you. I never thought that I thought I would be perfectly content to work for the rest of my life. I loved my job until I started hating it and realizing all of the life that I was missing out on. I feel like, if you've watched It's a Wonderful Life, and everybody, what was the angel's name?
Oh God! Now you're gonna.
It's not Charles.
No. Clarence.
Clarence. It's an angel. Every time you hear a bell rings, it means his angel gets his wings, and I feel like there needs to be like some big celebration whenever now we hear about somebody retiring and like finally prioritizing their life ahead of their job. And so yay you.
Well, congratulations for Johnny Bilk, whatever. Retiring in February 2026. scary, but both nurses in the hospital, and it's getting more difficult. That is really tough. We've got family and friends that are in the healthcare industry and been nurses and management level people, and it is stressful. It is tough, and you don't get the credit and the relaxation time. And you probably are top of the list for people that need to enjoy life more because you put in really tough service for taking care of people. People have been a priority your whole life.
Yeah.
Prioritize yourself. Even doctors we talk to.
They say it's really hard.
Really hard to travel, really hard to retire because they've been focused so much on their career. When they retire, they didn't plan anything for that. So now they're without a hobby or without an activity. Travel's a great hobby.
Franco's Adventures asks, we've talked about insurance before. Could you link that video below? I did. So it's there for you. And let's see.
I think that it's a talk that you kind of have to have with your partner and what you're doing with your life, because it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day, especially when you're in a position that you love or doing something that you love. It can take over. And we've been very aware that we love doing these videos on this channel, but we also have to be aware that we have to make sure we have time for other things. But it's easy to just say, well, we got this great idea, let's do this, and we're going to go to this place, let's do that. And even in this lifestyle where we should be retired and relaxing, we're fitting a lot in. And so we need to keep reevaluating, even though we're doing a really fun lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. Lola Stacy asked, how has slow travel personally changed you? I will say, and I'm gonna twist the answer, not just slow travel, but I think even we don't really spend time less than 3 days any place. Sure, occasionally we'll do a day trip, but our more meaningful places are never less than 3 days. And the only reason that we've typically ever shrunk them to that size is because they were expensive and they didn't logically fit into our budget. So by trimming them, it made it possible. For sure, we are staying no less than 7 days in places that are logical. Mm-hmm. And ideally, our sweet spot is 3 weeks. Yeah. We'll do 10 days, but really 14 is the minimum we like to spend. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily even consider that slow travel. Right. And when we can be in a place for a month, that is our favorite thing. But of course, for a month, there has to be enough to do. Yeah. Or
you don't always know till you get there. Like Hobart, we could have stayed there much longer than 10 days. There's a lot of places you could get to from that location, and a lot of places we could have explored in nature. And 10 days was really too short. Auckland, I think we could have stayed longer. Now that we know what our accommodations were and the central location we are, that would have been a great place to extend longer. Sometimes you don't know.
But Mostar was not, and people have said, well, you only were in Old Town. If you had expanded out, there's plenty of day trips and stuff that you could have seen and done. And that probably is true. So you have to see if you'll have enough time in a place. But I will say that what I'm even looking at, and this is not the definition of slow travel, but we are choosing to step back even when we aren't in a place as long, and giving ourselves time to just breathe. And that isn't because we have a lack of mobility or because we're getting old. I feel like it is because I'd like to think it's because we're wise. We're becoming wiser. And we are learning for us that there is so much of life that goes by. And when we've sped through it, we've missed out on opportunities. So we've tried to underschedule ourselves so that we can let some of the magic in.
Yeah, when we're in a place longer, there's definitely more time to experience a connection with somebody. If you're rushing through, if we've got to fit so much stuff in these 5 days, these 7 days, it's really hard to fit in a connection. It's really hard to find people. But when we're a place for a month, the meetups that happen are pretty organic and very cool.
Yeah. So So how has it changed me? Like, I feel like I have so much more understanding about history and
Geography.
culture and geography, and people in general.
Yeah.
I feel like it's easy when you don't travel to make assumptions.
Mhm.
And then you learn about what history they've undergone. And then I admire people throughout the world more than I did,
Yeah.
because I didn't fully grasp some of the things that they had to deal with. And it puts me in their place a little bit more. It gives me a little bit more empathy to say, wow, I don't know how I would have responded to this or to that. And how do I feel about those things?
Mhm.
And so I think it makes us appreciate the world at large. And that's one of the reasons that we want to see a lot of the world, because there's so much history that we don't know, that we didn't learn in school. And it's imperfect, but it really is, I think, enriching us so much.
Yeah, we've become, I think we've always been lifelong learners. That's part of our personalities, but this is also expanded on that. We feel like it's so much easier to get information about a place when you're there, talking to the local people who have experienced it, and to kind of spend some time in a dinner situation with people who are talking about their experiences in the country and why they've had this feeling, or tour guides who have gone through, like when we had a veteran walk us through Sarajevo's situation. We're not just talking to somebody who read some text about it and is parroting it back. They've gone through this. They've got some real stories. And, that's touched us so deeply that we feel like we wouldn't recognize ourselves, who we were 4 years ago. Totally different people, because there's so much more empathy for people around the world, and so much more realization that people are really the same all over the world. We all have the same problems. We're all just trying to enjoy life. Even if you don't think they have a great life because they don't have much stuff, they're actually pretty happy people in the places they don't have a lot of stuff. We may be wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Basu on the call, and we have Joe and Diana from the Sicily Adventure, which we're excited to see. And I know that there's a ton of you that we haven't acknowledged. So just know that we're really excited to see you all. We're also trying to answer your questions and be as thoughtful as we can in our responses as well. But I think that it's time for you to kind of share a little bit about what has been keeping us busy.
Yeah, since January of this year, we started a project where, for a long time, Judy's had spreadsheets, and we've worked on these really complex setups of an app that I wrote years ago that we've imported into spreadsheet. We do all this finance stuff, all our travel planning on all these wonderful worksheets, and we've even posted some of them on our website. But we wanted a better solution. So the idea was, we need to take care of our budget, our finances, because it's really critical when you're traveling all the time. We need to make sure that we could do this easier, because a lot of our travel and expenses is in foreign currency, which has always been a struggle for the apps we've used in the past. And the idea was also, there's a lot of rules around the world, Schengen rules. There's places we have to be that have visas and everything else. So we wanted to put all this in one place. So what we've done is we created an app, and it's called Voyage Vault. And this app is, if it will come up on the screen. Hang on.
It's been a labor of love, and literally every spare minute of our travels, Kevin is working on it. So,
and I don't know why it's not coming up on the screen, but let me. So the idea is, no idea why it's not coming up there. Come on, you can do it.
I'll say that I am
there it is. Okay, finally.
Great. I'm a spreadsheet person, and I was originally very reluctant to give up what I had been doing that I knew worked for us to use this new method. But I have been really excited about all of the features Kevin has built into it, and all of the conveniences that are making my travel planning easier, and also helping us to be better dialed into how much we're spending.
Yeah. So the idea is, and then Mike's community forum link. The idea of it is everyone has to do finances. Everyone has to manage a budget. But when we're in a location, a lot of times we're spending money in euros or we're spending money in New Zealand dollars or something like that. So the app allows you to put in your transactions in the local money, automatically converts into your home currency in your bank account, manages all the travel reservations, manages all your activities, all your lodging, even warns you when you don't have lodging or travel scheduled for a place, and has a Schengen calculator built in, has a currency converter built in, all the things we use every day. And the idea was if we could have this all in one spot and be able to share this information. So it syncs between all our devices. So I have it on my iPhone and my Mac, and Judy has it on her Mac and her iPhone, and we get to collaborate together with this. So as I'm putting in information, she's seeing it coming up on her devices. I'm seeing it. We have one-stop shopping. We can just pull up our phone and say, oh, where are we traveling to next? And we go to the trips list, and here's all our trips. For us, it goes out to 2028. You may not have as many trips as us ever, but it still can handle even that kind of management of travel and finances and everything else. So
we do have a beta that is going out. In fact, one of the complications of doing an app, and just in case you didn't say it, it's only for Apple devices. But Apple has to approve every release. So we have technically put it in beta, and we are just waiting for Apple to approve it. So those of you who are part of our Gelato membership, we're giving a sneak peek and are getting a chance to get first dibs on the experience while also helping us to make sure that it has all of the features that we can throw into it and that you understand how they all work. That is coming to you in the next, hopefully 24 hours or so.
Yeah, we've been waiting for the review to get done so they can push it out there. We'll continue to do reviews and updates and get stuff out there for you. And we'll also share more about it as we get closer to the release date, which hopefully this beta will help us get there quicker. We've been using it a lot in our own lives, and we kind of feel like it solves so many problems. So we're hoping it does the same for you, even if you're not doing as much travel as us.
Yeah, I think our biggest concern, one of my biggest concerns, was that when we're traveling in places where we need to use cash, we would forget to track it, or it just was hard.
Yeah.
And so we would life was going along, and then you all had said, show us your budget. Tell us how much you spend in places. And we realized, oh crap, it's not that we are so private and didn't want to share it, but we didn't keep a great handle on where every dollar was going. Yeah. And we just knew, okay, we took out $500 and we spent it all, and that was good enough. We knew we weren't necessarily being irresponsible with it, but we've always taken photographs of receipts. So we had it, but it took forever for us to then pull it into our spreadsheets and our finances so that we could share the information. And Kevin had said last year, I don't ever want to have to go through this again. I think that I can create something that is going to give us a better handle on things. And, 3 months later, when you're trying to remember where you spent $100, you don't necessarily want to do it. But when you are traveling as much as we do, those dollars can, number one, really add up. And it also helps us to be mindful. Like, are we okay with the fact that it's costing us this much money to eat out at restaurants? Do we need to really get a lot more comfortable with street food? Or do we need to make more time to cook? Or the fact of, okay, in the beginning, we were really cautious about not doing more than 2 or 3 excursions. Right. And we know the more we've been comfortable not getting a steady paycheck, that we've done more excursions, partly because of our channel, but also because they're places we're interested in. But we want to make sure we are looking at things more than we had been previously. So some people are really great with budgets. We are okay with budgets, but it also aligns with how we spend our money.
Yeah. We also wanted to have a one-stop place to look for visas, for travel information. We were just at the airport recently coming here, and we have our next trip shown. So what are your plans? What's your information on your next trip? Well, it was in Voyage Vault. We just look at the trip, pull up the actual documents that are stored in there. Both have access to them. Quick and easy. We're both at passport control, showing the document. We're all the way through. That's always been a problem for us too. Where do we have that? Is it in the email? Is it somewhere on our shared folder? Where do we put that document? And those things were killing us.
Yeah. I mean, we always had it, and it would just take a minute for us to be able to pull it up. But this has been a much more convenient way, so you've got your trip information and photographs of everything. So we still are taking pictures of our receipts, but now they're actually tied in with the places that we're going. So we can see it all together, along with the food that we ate, which is kind of convenient as well.
Sometimes you pull up a receipt and you're like, what is that? Oh yeah, here's pictures of the food. Here's the receipt. Here's the place. All that's
all tied to your specific trip.
Yeah. So we're really excited about it. It's been a labor of love because a lot of this development had to go in through all our travels, through all our video production. And so we'd be thrilled. Anybody that's able to beta test it, we've got links out to our members, and we'll spread that out a little bit further.
And I also want to point out, so Charles mentions that he's a spreadsheet guy. So it was a non-negotiable for us to be able to have this software on our computers. I am not a thumbs person. I like having things handy on my phone, and it actually has worked out really well because if I'm out and about and we want to talk about travel planning, or somebody pings us and asks a question about it, we don't have to be at the mercy of, okay, our spreadsheet is taking forever to open up. And I don't know why it does this, but even though you've used it today and it should be up, well, the next time, okay, you've got no Wi-Fi, and so it's not pulling up. Yeah. So it's frustrating, but the app is accessible.
It stores stuff locally on your device, whether it's an iPad, an iPhone, a Mac, and it's also shared over iCloud. So it's secure sharing, but you have access to the data right there. You don't have to be connected to anything to get it. And in fact, the app will tell you, you're not connected to Wi-Fi, but here's all your information. So it's really convenient to grab quickly on the road.
Yeah, and for me, the fact that I can still do my travel planning on my laptop and then immediately see it on my phone, or Kevin can see it on his, has been it's been really overall very positive. And I thought that maybe I wouldn't enjoy how that it maybe is different than a spreadsheet to add data to it, but I'm actually finding that it works very well too as well.
So.
Somebody's asking, how long does it take you to write and edit a video? Ooh, it takes us a long time. And you also ask about shorts and what editing software do we use?
Yeah. We use Final Cut Pro for actually editing the videos. Videos can take anywhere from 10 to 25 hours to edit. Judy spends a lot of time on research and scripting. And of course, we're collecting footage all the time. So that's part of it too.
Yeah, it is very, very, very time consuming. We think that having a channel has brought us all of you, and it has definitely helped somewhat to offset the cost of our travels. It definitely is not paying for our travels by any stretch. Yeah. So it is as much a labor of love as anything. And the community that we've built between you and our comments and in La Familia, the fact that many of you even in this live stream are saying, okay, we've traveled to a place because you gave us confidence to go there, or you've inspired us to retire early, or you have made us want to consider full-time travel or living in Italy or whatever it is, really brings us so much joy. But if you, but YouTube is a lot of work. So we don't want to tell you that it is, and sometimes, especially when you're getting started and there aren't a lot of views and there aren't a lot of people commenting, it can be discouraging. So if you have questions about that, we're happy to answer them if we can. But if that's a question specifically, we're rooting for you because it is a time-consuming process, especially if you're doing it just for your family and friends.
Right.
It's a lot easier. But especially when you are working so hard, you want it to get watched, that you're at the mercy of the algorithm, then marketing and there's a whole bunch of other things that we think about that we didn't think about for the first 2.5 years of putting out videos.
It can become a full-time job.
And for us, we think that shorts are time-consuming as well. So for us, that's not really something that we are so interested in deep diving in.
Yeah, and a lot of our audience, as we've heard in the early parts of this video, are watching us on a TV, which doesn't play with shorts. It's not the kind of format that our audience definitely is more TV focused. I think 50 to 60% of people watch our videos on TVs, and so we want to make sure that we're giving them the content and the format that they're looking for.
Yeah, if we weren't doing anything else, then I think it would be easier. But for us, that's not our priority. What camera do we use to record our videos?
Right now, I'm on a Sony FX30. That's what we do use for our talking heads. It's got a 11 millimeter prime lens. Our Pocket 3, our Osmo Pocket 3, is a DJI camera. It is the one we use for run and gun when we're out in a place and we're doing vlogging and things like that. It's got a gimbal built into it, so we don't look like shaky cam all over the place, no Blair Witch Project for us. So,
yeah, it basically, if you don't know what a gimbal is, which I didn't at first either, it's like Steadicam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And at times we'll use just our iPhones.
Sure.
We're not on the very latest version now. I think it's 17. iPhone 17.
Yeah. So yeah, whatever's available, whatever the best camera you have is the ones in your pocket.
Scalia, I think that's how you pronounce it, Becky. So yeah, we have not been there, but we've heard a few people, and maybe you've mentioned it in the past, because when somebody pointed it out, I did look it up. It's like, oh, I've not heard of this place. So that's really interesting. Thank you so much for joining us. I think we're gonna call it. Yeah. We don't want to take up all of your time on a Sunday. It's a Sunday for them. Because we know you probably have sightseeing or family time or shopping, whatever it is. But we want you to know how much we appreciate you. And we are so glad that you could get together with us and spend time with us. We love hearing from you. If there are additional questions that you have, leave them in the chat here or in the video, in the video. Yeah, in the comments of the video, and we'll do our best to answer them either in a Q&A, in an upcoming Q&A or something. So
and we do have a community that you can join too, which is on our website, and we'll link all that too, because there's a lot of good conversations going on there. A great community.
Yeah, Mike Nelson is a very active participant, and he asked me to put the link in, which I went ahead and did. And if you are interested in our gelato membership, we would love for you to consider that as well. As I said, we have live streams every month. So if this is a format that you enjoy, we would love to see you over there as well.
And happy holidays from Auckland, New Zealand.
Yeah. Until next time.
Until next time.